welcome to Movie Schmovie.
What's up?
It is myself, Ronald, and Steve.
Over here. Steve over here.
Yes, Steve is over there. So we are here to tell you that you need to come to all of our social networking sites, our contact information. I'm going to give it to you really quickly. Movieschmovie@gmail.com, movieschmovie.net, twitter.com/movieschmovie, facebook.com/movieschmovie. Please reach out. Tell friends about it. Whatever you can do to get us in a position where more people are listening to it.
That sounded like a really good advertisement. I don't think we even said welcome to Movie Schmovie. Yeah. But by the way, welcome.
Yeah, welcome
to Movie Schmovie.
See, it was like a.
But that was like a PSA. It almost was like a public service announcement.
It was funny. It was almost like I was going to talk about something really serious. Like,
yeah, I thought you were. I was like, did I not know you were going to throw some bomb down here? Like something serious is about to happen. And I didn't get the memo on. But yeah, welcome to episode number 12 of Movie Schmovie. We're super happy that we're still going with
yes.
up and higher in our double digits. But we're trying a little bit of a new format for this episode.
Yeah, hope you guys like it.
Try to cut the fat a little bit.
Yep.
Lean and mean. Try to keep it really focused on what we want to talk about today. We're going to start off before we even get into details about our feature with doing our Mighty Minute review. This episode's review is going to be about the film HESHER.
HESHER.
We got a write-in from a guy named Oleg.
Oleg, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. So HESHER, what do you think, Ronald?
Yeah, so it was a really good movie. It is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, kind of an indie film for him. It's basically about a gentleman, a little kid, and a gentleman who lost the son lost his mom, the husband lost his wife, and they're kind of coping with this whole situation. Now, during the course of this kid's going through all this kind of emotional distress and anger and loneliness, and they run into HESHER, who is a loner that rides in a raggedy truck. He is outlandish, rude, and ridiculous. And
loves heavy metal.
Yeah, loves heavy metal.
His truck is almost like a rape van. You would want to say it's a rape van.
He walks around shirtless for 95% of the movie, and that's pretty much, this guy comes into their lives and pretty much shakes it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, this is a movie about how this outlandish, kind of crazy, off-the-wall character affects the son and the father, and also Natalie Portman's in it as like a shopping store like clerk. She works at a grocery store the kid meets. And it's just about that, how he affects all their lives for better, for worse. I personally wasn't a big fan of the film. Like, I heard a lot of positive things about it. I know at some of the festival circuits it had some high expectations. Didn't really kind of meet them on a lot of levels, and for me personally, they didn't. I thought some of Hesher's characteristics, just kind of how out there he was, and some of the scenes was just almost too much for me. Right. I mean, I'm pretty good at like suspending belief and kind of just going with things like that, but where it worked into the context of this film and where this kid was and the family was, I just think it kind of missed its mark a little bit. I was not a fan.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It felt kind of empty at some parts, but all in all, it was decent.
Okay.
So
very cool. So HESHER's on I think DVD now, so feel free to check that out. Again, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Natalie Portman, also Rainn Wilson's in it as the father,
right?
And Piper Laurie's in it as well, in a smaller role as the grandmother of that group. But kind of moving on to our anchor this week. We're going to be talking about a film that I know both of us are really excited to be talking about.
Oh, yes.
It's coming out from the studio called Film District. Opens in theaters this Friday, the 16th, today. It's called Drive. Here's a clip from it. Check it out.
If I drive for you,
you give me a time and a place. I give you a 5-minute window.
Anything happens in that 5 minutes and I'm yours, no matter what. I don't sit in while you're running it down. I don't carry a gun. I drive.
I'm gonna tell you something. Anybody finds out, we're both dead.
One of those men gave you that? Do you remember this?
No.
So yeah, Drive, about a gentleman who pretty much moonlights as a wheelman at night, and during the day he's a stuntman. Now he gets into he has very simple rules as to how his wheelman status goes.
Yeah.
He doesn't ask too many questions. He asks for a 5-minute bracket, and if you don't come within that time, he leaves you.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
He's
pretty
a getaway
clean cut.
driver.
Yeah, I mean, you have a character, Ryan Gosling plays driver. You never even hear his name.
Never.
You know,
Never.
And we just follow him. We see in the daytime he works as a stuntman, and nighttime he's a getaway guy, and kind of works it into the lives of some other characters in the film that we'll talk about in a little bit. But we just kind of go on that journey with him and see this little spiderweb he gets himself into by taking a job that kind of doesn't end so well. But you know, this is the idea of this new format. We're going to kind of stay away from giving away too much of the synopsis, or even like, you know, kind of talking about what the movie's about so much, and really get into what we thought of it. Talk about some backstory, talk about some themes, some, you know, marketing stuff that we kind of thought was cool and worked. So let's just, you know, kind of get into that. And I think one of the things I want to bring up first, and this is, I think, relevant because the trailer is usually something that a lot of people see first for a movie. Trailer for this film, I think, is awesome. A lot of the marketing material, I really think it's very slick. The poster for it, where, you know, it's got the white matted frame around the outside with Gosling just kind of standing up. It's got the like hot pink script writing. It looks very 80s, you know, very kind of Miami Vice-ish.
Purposefully so.
And I mean, the film kind of carries that tone throughout, but my issue with the trailer is kind of thinking about like what it kind of gives an expectation to the audience of.
Right.
I don't really think that the trailer really is setting up people for what kind of movie it is. Right. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah. So what happens is you come into the situation thinking that it's kind of a happy-go-lucky. I mean, not happy, but still, it has that sort of tone of maybe like a
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone in 60 Seconds, and it is not that. It is very, very dark.
Yeah, and that's where my concern is.
Right, and there's these really big contrasts between kind of periods where it's really calm, and then it gets really, really brutal. Downright brutal.
Right.
Some of the most graphic things, some of the more graphic things I've ever seen in this sort of movie, in this type of movie, the kind of getaway car sort of thing. But what that does for me is that it creates an environment where the unexpected kind of comes at any time. Right. And I think it's good because it creates an environment where you're like, okay, he's a cool guy. He's dressed well. He's really pretty calm. And then what is this guy capable of? And you kind of see during the course of the movie what he is capable of. And it's pretty brutal. So
yeah, he's like, I mean, that's kind of getting into some of the character. I think more so where I'm going is, obviously, I mean, I'll put it out there right now, and I think we kind of allude to it. I was a huge fan of the movie. We'll get into that more. The reason it concerns me more so is because I think this is a really good example of, you know, how a studio can market a film in a way that is a little misrepresentative.
Right.
A lot of people that I've talked to about the movie that have an interest in it, I don't think they have a clue.
They have no clue
what kind of movie they're going to be seeing when this movie hits theaters. And I hope people see it, but why it concerns me is because when an expectation is set, and more often than not, when it's not met, it's going to go for the negative more so than the positive. Well, especially with the kind of movie that this is.
The problem is, you're right. The problem is that it's going to be presented like a couple movie that couples can see, and then the girlfriend. I mean, not the stereotype, but she's going to be shocked that people are getting their brains bashed in.
Exactly.
Really, it's because of that. It's a couple things about this movie. It's kind of unrelenting in the violence. And it doesn't apologize for being kind of this cool sort of movie. But in that, you really have to deal with the kind of consequence of it being what it is. And that's really a pretty brutal movie.
So hopefully if you're listening to this, I mean, like, we want to set the expectation. I mean, not to give away anything, but I think my biggest concern, it has nothing to do with the quality of the film or the filmmaking or the acting or the story. It's more so with like some of the marketing for it. You know, I like the marketing. It's slick. It's neat. The movie is slick. It is not neat in terms of violence. Right. I mean, it's very violent. Doesn't bother me at all. Mm-hmm. I actually didn't even know how violent it was going into it. I don't think you did either.
No,
but it didn't affect me in a negative way. But I feel like a mainstream audience, which is what they're going for with this film, you know, they throw a great-looking Ryan Gosling on the poster. You know, women want to see this.
Yeah.
He's so good-looking. The trailer is all about how cool he is, and it's got that romantic angle with Carey Mulligan's character, and that is very apparent in the film. But that is not the anchor of this movie whatsoever. So, you know, people just be aware of that. It's a concern that I had after seeing it.
It's legitimate. It's a legitimate concern. One thing that's totally amazing about this movie is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is electronic, very bassy, and kind of weaves in and out of the story. Now, one thing that's practiced a lot is the contrast between violence and a really calm sort of soundtrack. And it's kind of reminiscent of a lot of really good mafia movies. Those scenes where there's like an orchestrated soundtrack and somebody's getting their brains bashed in.
Sure, like Goodfellas did that a lot.
Right. And it's one of those things that's it almost rattles you the way it's done, but it's done so well that I don't know. Like I think it's done so well that it's done enough, right? I was thinking about this. It was done several times during the movie.
Yeah.
But it's done so well that you can forgive the fact that it's done 4 or 5 times. You know
almost like this is one of those kind of movies where I think that the score, the soundtrack, if you will, like it almost becomes a character in the movie.
It does.
You know, when that song or that score pops up, you kind of almost have an expectation of what kind of scene this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of like the film Hannah, like you know how the Chemical Brothers, the score they did for that. The score for this film is just outstanding. All of the original music I think it's done by Cliff Martinez, and then he has like stuff from like Love Fox, and I think it's Kavinsky. I did some research. I'm not really into the whole electronic sound.
Right.
But there's music in this movie that like I don't even know who these people are, but the soundtrack was awesome. You know?
Yeah.
I even went after this song. It's called "A Real Hero," which you hear like 3 or 4 times in the movie, and I think over the closing credits. And it's by a group called College, featuring Electric Youth. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's an exact song that I'm referring to. That I almost kind of felt like that song was a character. Like when I heard that song come on in the film once or twice, and even over the credits, it kind of gets you in a mindset of where the scene is. Not so much going, but where you are, like, emotionally and mentally for what's about to happen.
Right, definitely. There are definitely scenes where the love scenes have this soft sort of thing, and as the action picks up, it, gets bassy.
Yeah.
It adjusts. The arrangements start to get really complex, and then the action gets sort of complicated. The characters in this movie, man, I'm trying really hard not to like super duper praise the hell out of this movie and not talk about any bad things, but the characters in this movie are incredible, start to finish. Ryan Gosling, the driver, Carey Mulligan, Irene, who's the mom that's sort of in it. She's in it enough, not too much, but she kind of is the calmer end of the story. It's kind of what reels the driver in when he's going berserk, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's all for her.
Yeah.
Everything that he's doing is for her. Christina Hendricks plays Blanche, beautiful. Ron Perlman, also an asshole in everything he's in, and Albert Brooks, who plays Bernie. So, what'd you think about?
Also Bryan Cranston's in it too.
Oh, Bryan Cranston! Oh my God, he's like the driver's sort of
his
mentor.
His like a manager, mentor. Yeah. He plays Shannon.
He's trying to take the driver pretty much to the top. He wants him to drive professionally.
He wants to take him, legit.
Right. And he's being backed by this sort of shady Albert Brooks and Ron Perlman who want him to make it. You know what I mean? These characters, Nino and Bernie, who want to fund this professional sort of leap for the driver. So it's this sort of parallel between, who he is as a stunt driver, what he wants to be as a professional driver, and then the shady side that he's kind of hiding. Right. This dark side of this gentleman that you really, really don't see at the beginning of the movie that comes out like halfway through. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting balance, I think. Like, you kind of referred to, you have this character, the central character, Driver. Again, we don't actually have a name for this guy.
Right. He's called Driver. Kid.
Yeah, he's got all these nicknames, but Driver is kind of who we know him by, even through the press kit for the film. Who, he's such a loner. He's like so fucking cool that like, you know there's so much below the surface. You don't really start to see any of it until, you see some of his interactions with Shannon, who is like his little mentor manager guy. And then, with the interactions that he has once he kind of meets and starts to hang out with Irene, who is the next door neighbor, who has a little son, who he definitely identifies with. You can see some like emotion. You see some character come out of him. Other than that, just like steady, guy that you see for the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. Yeah. So it's kind of cool that, there are things in the film that kind of give some sort of texture to him. He's not like a one-trick thing. Like you see emotion come out in other pieces of the film. And then especially like when you get towards the end of the film, emotions on the more like hot side with anger and, revenge and, vengeance and all these things. But also like some of the cooler side the lighter tones, like in doing the gig that he takes that gets this whole thing into motion is really to help Irene.
Right.
Her estranged husband gets out of jail, and he agrees to drive this job for him.
Right.
That's going to basically get her husband clean.
Right.
It's going to wipe his debt clean, all of his mob ties, and allow him to actually be a father to the little boy and a husband to her. Even though that sucks for Driver, like he cares about her and he wants what's good for her family. And this is kind of what gets him. And that's where you see some of the positive things that he has to offer, and you actually see the character at that point. And a lot of things get set into motion. And like you mentioned before, when we were talking about the soundtrack, one of my favorite things about the movie, and we'll get into the filmmaker in a moment, just to kind of keep it separate, is the amazing balance of like those scenes that are so quiet and so intentionally slow, and then the scenes that just pick up and just like literally kick you in the face.
Yeah.
Like, and that keeps you on your seat. Like, that keeps you on the edge of your seat, wanting to know what's going to happen with the movie. It's not like it's some crazy mystery, like, big twist ending movie. You almost kind of have an idea where we're going in the film once we kind of get into second gear. Pardon the pun. But it's the kind of stuff that keeps it unbalanced, even though it is balanced. It's weird, you know what I mean? You talk about the calm and the quiet before the storm, and you talk about the storm. But how balanced that is, it's kind of cool. And that's one of the things that I think works for the movie. But like I said earlier, I think the studio is kind of hurting a little bit because I think some people just don't know what's going on.
It's going to be weird when it comes out. One thing that they do that's really cool, the director, I guess we're going to start getting into that in a second, Nicolas Winding Refn, what he does that's really cool is Driver does not talk very much.
Right.
However, there's something really cool that he does to represent kind of the reflection of what's happening in this guy's life. Right. So he starts off in this really cool white jacket.
Right.
Right? As his life gets more chaotic, that jacket gets torn and beat to shit and bloody. His cars get fucked up and beat up. And you know what I mean? It's just that cool sort of, rather than expressing it, he's not going to say, I'm hurting, I'm going through something. That's not the case.
Right.
You're going to see what surrounds him kind of deteriorating as well as, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's really great that you picked that up.
Right.
I mean,
and that's sort of a substitute for this dude speaking kind of candidly about his feelings.
And about where he is emotionally.
Right.
And like I like what you said, like he doesn't actually take that jacket off. When he goes and attacks this guy or that guy, this cool, clean jacket, it's like now it's torn to shit, it's got blood on it. He is battered and bruised in certain scenes. But like you never really see him stop. He's got like this, tunnel vision on what he's trying to do, just like he does with all of his stunt driving, during the day. And we see in the opening scene with him doing the getaway driving, like he has a system.
Right.
And you can see even there's a system for what he's trying to do to get vengeance, or a system to help Irene. And it's awesome. I think it's a really cool way to approach it from the filmmaker point of view. And it's like they don't have to spoon feed everything to us. Right. I appreciate filmmakers that don't do that. Because it really can kill a movie for me when I literally have to be told by the characters or by another character how somebody's feeling.
Yeah, that's...
Or what is happening in this scene. Like, people are smarter than some of these people give credit to. These filmmakers give credit to. And this is a guy, the Nicolas Winding Refn that you mentioned. He doesn't have a lot here stateside. He's got a lot of following here because of some films he's made. I mean, most notably is probably Bronson.
Right.
Who,
thanks to Netflix, that's become a little more heavily distributed.
It's got a cult following now,
right.
Absolutely. And its star, Tom Hardy, is probably about to blow up. I mean, he's about to be a star. I just saw him in Warrior. I thought he was incredible. He was great in Inception. But I mean, like that film, in Bronson is another great example of how hyper-violent this filmmaker's style is. Yeah. And in this character, a really cool kind of parallel is like our character in Drive is so quiet and speaks through actions and stuff like that, and we see what he wears on his sleeve literally sometimes. And a character in Bronson who is so outlandish and so loud and so, quite the opposite. But
he's a lot more complex too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really cool.
But both films kind of carry a similar kind of vibe to them in terms of how quickly, like literally the snap of a finger, it goes from like him just like in Bronson. There's scenes where he's just talking to you, and then shit just gets crazy,
and he's choking somebody out
and killing. And then the same thing happens in this movie, like where it's kind of quiet, and you're like, what's going on here? And then literally something super super crazy happens.
Right.
So you get to see in this movie, you know, if you haven't seen Bronson, I definitely recommend it as a little side recommendation. But this filmmaker has a style.
Right.
And it's not been sacrificed, it's not been jeopardized for a film to come out here from a U.S. distributor in a U.S. market, a U.S. budget. The movie was made for only $13 million, which is incredible to me. Because some of the driving scenes, the action scenes look awesome.
They do.
But, you know, I think this filmmaker is probably on the verge of probably breaking out himself. I mean, I know there's been a lot of positive response to the movie. Justifiably so, in my opinion. But I think he's a guy with a vision.
Yeah.
He's got a really nice way of blending some, I guess you'd call them tender moments. With
that super duper violence.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's a crisp looking movie on top of that. It's a lot of beautiful wide shots of California.
Yeah.
A lot of night shots, and you kind of see the city glowing. This kind of neon 80s look to it, like a Scarface-ish Miami Vice sort of vibe to it. And that pink font, pink font is pretty representative of the entire vibe of the movie. Yeah. Really, it's like this designer drugs, gangsters in sweatsuits.
Fast driving,
cars, beautiful women,
guns.
It's pretty representative of the whole thing. So I guess to put it all in one sort of summary, I fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it had its shortcomings. You know what I mean? It felt empty at some parts.
Yeah, I would agree. We actually talked about that afterwards. Like, there were a few parts like where you had this like a couple extended scenes where.
Right.
You were like kind of waiting for something to pick up or to get an idea of at least where we were going. So, you know, there are a couple scenes like that, but I think overall, with the style, the music, the acting, I mean, like we didn't even really touch on them, but like Bryan Cranston in a smaller role, Albert Brooks I think is awesome in it.
Yes.
As that gangster, there's a really cool scene where Bryan Cranston's character introduces Driver to Bernie, who's played by Albert Brooks, and Driver, Ryan Gosling, you know, he goes to introduce him, and you know, Albert Brooks has his hand out to shake his hand.
Oh yeah.
And Ryan Gosling says, you know, my hands are dirty, and he says back to him, well, mine are too. And you kind of get that really cool tone that gets set right there. But like, this is a guy that's investing in a stock car race, but he's also a guy that's fucking killed people.
Yeah.
You know, he's a mobster. You know, don't try to be a smart ass with me. Yeah. I'm dirty too. Definitely. It's cool. Like, and some of that interplay is really nice. Acting's really solid. Script is nice. It's based off of a novel that almost made into a film a little while ago by Universal, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. So I'm really glad to see that a smaller studio like this picked this film up and actually got it out there. You know. And just to make a quick mention, you were talking about like the visual style. When we saw it, someone out of the theater, I don't recall who said it, but it was a really cool little quote. They were saying like that they almost felt like it was like the best movie that Michael Mann never made in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Visually. Like,
yeah.
I don't think so much content-wise or filmmaking style.
There would be shitloads of explosions.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a little different. But I feel visually, like how deep and rich some of the images are at night of L.A., you know, of an area of LA or a side of LA that a lot of people don't see, you know, and I think that's really cool, and that's like that landscape that we see around it, and even the daytime shots. I mean, just how rich some of the scenes are, and you literally do feel like this movie probably could have taken place then as well.
Yeah, it made me feel like I was in the environment that they were in. I got excited. Literally, there were at the beginning when the soundtrack starts, my heart started racing. Yeah, it was such a fucking good movie. Like, so
I don't know. We both loved it. I think that anybody that likes anybody that's seen Bronson,
right,
go see it because of the filmmaker. Appreciate a talent, please, because you know, success of a film like this is going to get him more projects that you'll probably end up loving. Ryan Gosling, I've always loved Ryan Gosling. I think he's a star. I think he kind of like tapped into like kind of a Steve McQueen, Clint Eastwood vibe in this movie, with how silent but strong he is. And I think, you know, he's always kind of been known as like really selective with films, and he does a couple of stupid movies here and there. But I think this is a really great choice for him and role. A lot of the other cast are really supporting. It is his film, but I think it's definitely worth a viewing for anybody that likes anything that we've talked about. If you like Michael Mann films, I think you'd probably appreciate it, you know, minus some of the explosions. Car chase films, you know, action, even a little bit of a mob angle. It's that genre. I just would really, my only warning is for people watching the trailer thinking, oh, this is a cool action movie like Gone in 60 Seconds, released by Disney. This is not that. This is a film released by, a smaller studio that, has confidence in the film that is well made. And I guess they're just trying to get it out to a wider audience. But, the trailer, the way it presents it, it just concerns me a little bit.
Yeah. Good movie overall, though.
Yeah, it's in theaters now. If you want to check the trailer out, you can hit up the official site. We'll have some links on our blog, I'm sure, once the movie hits theaters, or once we get some more feedback from maybe some of our listeners. Yeah. But Drive, 2 thumbs up. I have it in my top 10 easily for the year. I definitely think it's worth checking out. So cool. It's in theaters now. Let's see. Moving on to our quick picks.
Yeah, DVD quick picks.
I think we both kind of had a theme here for the quick picks.
Yes.
And what would that be, Ronald?
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Weird.
Ryan Gosling.
Even more Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, so I chose Half Nelson. Came out in 2006. It's basically about a city teacher. He teaches middle school, has a drug habit, and seeks to protect this girl, Dre. I think her name is Andrea or something like that, but her name is Dre in the movie. And basically his drug addiction drives him into this kind of crazy place where he's helping her, seeking out drugs, and kind of in this whirlwind. It's a good movie. Absolutely, absolutely. One of his best performances I'd seen. I suggest you see it. That Anthony Mackie's in it. Tristan Wilds of 90210, The Wire fame. Anthony Mackie.
You just said that, I think.
Did I say Anthony Mackie?
I think you did. Oh, that's okay because he's really good at it.
He's good twice. He's worth mentioning twice.
Yeah, he should get 2 credits.
Anthony Mackie, to me, is like he's starting to become, aside from a couple other people, like one of the leading actors in American film. Like he's so incredible. Yeah. So it's worth checking out. Ryan Gosling, Half Nelson, 2006 release.
It's
DVD. On DVD.
I'm going to also go with a Ryan Gosling film. I'm going to go a little further back.
Get out of here.
I'm going to go back to 2002. Back when I was still in college. Wow, I'm old. I'm going to go with Murder by Numbers.
Okay.
Crime thriller. Sandra Bullock. Ryan Gosling, obviously. Who else? We got Michael Pitt, Ben Chaplin, who never really turned into anything. Chris Penn, rest in peace, is in it. Agnes Bruckner's in it. I don't know, a bunch of people. Anyway, the movie is kind of like, like a cat and mouse murder mystery, except that we really don't have a lot of mystery because we know what the hell's going on. Ryan Gosling and Michael Pitt play 2 high schoolers who pretty much think that they've executed the perfect murder, which is our title, Murder by Numbers. They have this plan to get away with it. And Sandra Bullock is the detective that's kind of trying to track them down.
Right.
And it's basically this cat and mouse, outsmarting one another throughout the entire film, trying to get away with it. Very smart, I think. I remember liking it a lot when it came out. I haven't seen it in a little while, but I feel like it would probably hold up. It's not like some amazing film, but it's very much in line with a lot of those movies that were coming out in the late 90s, early 2000s, like like Kiss the Girls, Along Came a Spider, those whole kind of, that vibe of that film. But Murder by Numbers, I'd recommend checking it out. It's on DVD. Pretty sure it's available through Netflix, either by the stream or by the mail DVD thing that they have.
Cool.
But yeah, so Murder by Numbers and Half Nelson, both films that Ryan Gosling star in. Half Nelson's probably the better of the 2. I'm not going to lie to you since you had to one-up me. But Murder by Numbers is still worth checking out. Cool. But yeah, that pretty much is going to wrap up this episode. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this new format.
Yeah.
We got some suggestions from some listeners, and we definitely took them to heart, and we've been planning on doing this regardless.
Right.
So we're going to plan on keeping this going. As always, like Ronald said, we have all the different ways to reach out to us, the email address. Please email us if you have ideas. Please if you have movies you want to hear us talking about, even if they haven't come out yet. We kind of want to know what you're interested in hearing about. So, movieschmovie@gmail.com, movieschmovie.net is our official site where we post a lot of new news. You can follow us there. It's actually, through a Tumblr page, so you can follow us to get updates automatically through that. Facebook, like Ronald said, the Google Plus account we have, which I personally haven't used. Who uses Google Plus? Do you?
No, it kind of fell off, man.
It's that cool club that we all joined, but we don't really know there's nothing really going on.
Yeah, maybe it'll develop into something. Right now
Point being, there's ways to contact us, and we definitely want to hear back from you. And please, if you're listening to this, Hopefully you've subscribed to it through iTunes or through Mixcloud because of subscriptions and the ratings and the feedbacks. It helps us get this podcast listed as people search for movie reviews. So if you can do that, it'd be a huge help for us, and it would take a second of your time. Yeah. But again, thanks for listening as always. And do you have anything else to say, Ronald?
I love you guys.
Love you guys. Yeah, we all always nothing but love for you, baby. But yeah, thanks as always, and you made our day. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.